I used to think loyalty meant something, that when you gave people your trust, your time, your help, they would stand by you when things got hard. I was wrong. I learned that the hard way. They say betrayal doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from the people you'd take a bullet for. That saying became my reality the day everything I'd built fell apart. Not because of strangers, but because of the very people I loved most. It started with a dream. I was 26, ambitious, maybe too ambitious. I'd just started a small marketing company with two of my closest friends, Adil and Sana. We'd gone to university together, shared sleepless nights working on class projects, and promised that one day we'd make it big. When we launched the company, it felt like a new era. We called it Nova Edge, our new edge to the world. The first few months were rough, but we had each other. We'd laugh over instant noodles, brainstorm till 3 a.m., and tell ourselves success was just around the corner. And for a while, it really was. Our first big client was a clothing brand that suddenly blew up online. Within a year, our revenue tripled. Suddenly, the same people who ignored us before wanted meetings, partnerships, sponsorships. We were finally being seen, but with attention came ego. And ego destroys faster than any enemy. Adil was always the loud one, charming, confident, the type who could sell water to a fish. I handled the creative side. Sana was our organizer, the calm in our chaos. We worked like three pieces of a perfect puzzle. But as the money started rolling in, Adil's attitude changed. He started making decisions without consulting us. At first, I brushed it off and told myself he was just trying to take initiative. But soon it became clear he wasn't taking initiative. He was taking control. I remember one morning walking into the office and seeing him sitting with a client, a deal I'd been working on for weeks. He'd finalized it behind my back. When I confronted him later, he said, "Relax, man. You take things too personally. I'm just doing what's best for the company." But his version of best started looking a lot like best for him. Sana noticed too, but she didn't say much. She avoided conflict, always tried to keep the peace. I relied on her to balance things, but soon even she began to drift away, taking more meetings with Adil, whispering in corners, cutting me out of conversations. I told myself I was being paranoid, but deep down I knew something wasn't right. The final blow came 6 months later. I walked into our office one Monday morning, only to find my access card wasn't working. The security guard looked confused but said, "Sir, your name isn't on the list anymore." I thought it was a mistake. I called Adil, no answer. I called Sana, straight to voicemail. I went upstairs anyway, and that's when I saw it. The sign on the door now read, "Nova Edge Marketing Put Limited. Founders, Adil Khan and Sana Malik." My name was gone. Completely erased. I still remember how my heart dropped. I walked in, everyone went silent. Adil looked at me like I was a stranger. He said coldly, "You're not supposed to be here. We've restructured. You're out." Just like that. Years of work, friendship, loyalty. Gone in a single sentence. I stood there frozen, unable to speak. My hands were shaking. I asked, "What are you talking about?" He tossed a folder at me. Legal papers. Apparently they'd changed the company's registration, transferred shares behind my back. Sana couldn't even look me in the eye. She just said, "It's for the best, for the best." Those words still echo in my head. I left that office with nothing but a folder full of lies. My savings were drained. I'd invested everything into that company. The people I trusted most had gutted it from under me. That night I sat in my tiny apartment staring at the ceiling, feeling like my entire life had collapsed. For weeks I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Every time I thought about them, I felt this burning rage that scared me. But anger, when controlled, is power. And I promised myself I would use mine wisely. At first I tried moving on. I applied for jobs, tried freelancing, but my confidence was shattered. No one wanted to hire a failed founder. People whispered about how Adil and Sana made the company successful after getting rid of dead weight. Those words spread faster than fire. My reputation was gone. Then one night, I got a message from one of our old employees, Rafiq. He said, "Sir, you should see what they're doing." He sent me screenshots, proof that they'd been stealing client data and reselling it under a new branch. They were using the same strategies I'd created, my presentations, even my designs, just with their names on them. That's when something in me snapped. I realized I wasn't broken. I was rebuilding, quietly. I spent the next 6 months learning everything I could about digital strategy, AI marketing, and automation. I used every sleepless night to grow sharper. While they flaunted their fake success online, I was planning my comeback in silence. I started a new company under a different name, one no one would link to me. I called it Ecliptic Media because, like an eclipse, I was coming back to block their light. I began small, one client, then two, then five. But my work spoke louder than their noise. I built systems, not just ideas. My campaigns started going viral. Within a year, Ecliptic Media was outperforming Nova Edge in every category: engagement, ROI, growth. Clients who once ignored me were now calling me for advice. And the best part? Adil and Sana had no idea it was me behind it. Then came the opportunity I'd been waiting for, a government tender for a massive tourism campaign. Both Nova Edge and Ecliptic Media applied. I knew their style. I knew how they pitched. I crafted my proposal to outsmart every tactic Adil used to rely on. The presentation day arrived. I walked into the conference room in a sharp suit, head held high. The moment Adil saw me, his smile froze. He whispered, "You?" I smiled back and said, "You remember me? I'm just here to do business." Sana looked pale. They didn't know whether to shake my hand or run. The board members were impressed with both presentations, but when results day came, Ecliptic Media won by a landslide. We'd scored 94 points. Nova Edge? 68. The contract was mine. That day I didn't celebrate loudly. I just went home, poured myself a cup of tea, and watched the sunset. Sometimes silence is the loudest victory, but karma wasn't done yet. Within months, rumors started spreading about Nova Edge's internal problems. Adil's arrogance had alienated clients. Sana was reportedly trying to leave. Their biggest sponsor pulled out after an audit exposed financial inconsistencies, the same ones they used to cheat me. Everything they built on betrayal was crumbling. One evening, I got a message from an unknown number. It was Sana. She wrote, "Can we talk?" I hesitated but agreed to meet. When we met, she looked different, tired, regretful. She said, "You were right about everything. I made a mistake." Her eyes were filled with tears. She told me Adil had taken full control, even forged her signature on some contracts. She'd lost everything. I listened quietly. Then she asked, "Can I join your company?" I looked at her for a long time before replying, "You helped destroy what I built. I rebuilt it without you." That's my answer. She nodded, crying silently. I wasn't cruel. I wished her well, but I knew forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. As for Adil, his downfall was inevitable. A few months later, news broke that he was under investigation for tax fraud. He tried to blame others, but everyone turned on him. I didn't lift a finger. I didn't have to. The truth had its own way of coming back. A year later, I stood outside the same office building where I'd once been kicked out. This time, Ecliptic Media's name shone on the top floor. My company, my legacy. I looked up, smiled, and whispered, "You thought you buried me, but you forgot. I was a seed." People often ask me how I managed to stay calm, how I didn't lose myself to revenge. The truth is, revenge isn't about destroying others. It's about rebuilding yourself so completely that your success becomes their punishment. I didn't need to shout or expose anyone. I just needed to rise so high that their betrayal became irrelevant. Now when I walk into meetings, people greet me with respect. The same world that once turned its back now looks at me with admiration. But I never forget that version of myself, the one sitting alone in that apartment feeling worthless. That pain became my strength. If you've ever been betrayed, I want you to hear this, and your story isn't over when they leave you behind. It begins there. Betrayal can break you, or it can build the version of you they can never touch. Adil and Sana taught me the most valuable lesson. Never expect loyalty from people who benefit from your silence. Speak with your success, build in your shadows, let them think they've won, and when you return, let your rise blind them. Sometimes I still think back to that first day, when we were just three dreamers. If things had gone differently, maybe we'd still be friends. But maybe I needed that betrayal to evolve. Maybe losing everything was how I found myself. Today, Ecliptic Media works with over 200 clients across 10 countries. I travel the world, give talks, mentor young entrepreneurs. And every time someone asks how I did it, I smile and say, "They betrayed me. So I came back stronger than ever." But deep down, I know the truth. I didn't just come back stronger. I came back smarter, sharper, untouchable. I learned that strength isn't just about fighting back. It's about walking past the ruins with your head high, knowing you built something better. So, to anyone listening, sitting in that place where everything feels lost, trust me, you'll rise again. Use the pain. Let it fuel you. They might have written you off, but they can't erase your story. Because real power doesn't come from revenge. It comes from resurrection. And that's exactly what I did. I resurrected. I turned betrayal into brilliance, pain into power, silence into success. They thought they'd ended me, but they only reminded me who I really was. I am the storm they created, and I came back stronger than ever. Success can be loud, but I learned to make mine quiet. After winning the tourism campaign, ecliptic media exploded overnight. My inbox flooded with clients who once dismissed me. Reporters wanted interviews, investors wanted partnerships. For the first time in years, I wasn't chasing opportunities. They were chasing me. But behind every smile, every handshake, there was something deeper inside me, a question I couldn't shake off. Had I truly moved on, or was I still running from what happened? I told myself I was fine, that the past was behind me. But some nights I'd sit in my office long after everyone left, staring at the city lights, remembering how it all began, how easily people can change when money and fame walk in. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just wiser. One evening, while reviewing new campaigns, my assistant knocked. "Sir, there's someone here to see you." I looked up, confused. "At this hour?" She nodded. "He says it's urgent." When the door opened, I froze. It was a deal. He looked nothing like the man I once knew. His suit was wrinkled, his confidence gone. His eyes had the dullness of defeat. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then he said softly, "You've done well for yourself." I leaned back in my chair, calm but alert. "I have. What do you want, a deal?" He sighed, ran a hand through his hair. "I made mistakes, I know that. I've lost everything, clients, partners, reputation. I came here to ask for help." I wanted to laugh. The man who once threw me out of my own company now stood in front of me asking for mercy. But I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt something different. Pity. He continued, "You were always the heart of Nova Edge. Without you, we fell apart. I was stupid, blinded by greed. I thought I didn't need anyone." I let his words hang in the air. "And now I realize loyalty is worth more than money," he said quietly. "I'm not asking for much, just a chance. Maybe we can work together again." I looked at him, the same man who once called me useless, now begging for a spot in the empire I built from ashes. "No, a deal," I said finally. "I don't build twice with the same hands that destroyed me." He looked down, defeated. "So that's it?" I nodded. "That's it." He turned to leave, then stopped. "You've changed," he said. I smiled slightly. "No, I just finally became who I was supposed to be." When he walked out, I didn't feel revenge or anger. Just closure. Sometimes the best revenge is showing them they no longer have the power to affect you. Weeks went by, and life moved faster than ever. We signed a deal with an international airline, our biggest project yet. My team was growing, 50 people now, all loyal, all driven. I made sure every employee felt valued, heard, respected, because I knew what it felt like to be betrayed by people you trusted. But fate wasn't done teaching me. One day during a business seminar in Dubai, I ran into someone unexpected again. Sana. She was part of a small PR firm now, working quietly in the background. When she saw me across the room, her eyes widened. She approached slowly. "Hey," she said softly. "Hi," I replied. "You look different," she said. "I guess success changes people," I said with a polite smile. She hesitated, then said, "I heard about a deal. He left the country, debt, lawsuits, everything fell apart." I nodded. "I know." She looked at me, guilt heavy in her eyes. "I think about what we did every day. I wish I could undo it. For the first time I saw not the person who betrayed me, but someone broken by her own choices. I forgave you a long time ago, I said quietly. But forgiveness doesn't mean I'll let you back into my life. Tears welled in her eyes. I understand. Before she left, she asked, "Do you ever miss how it used to be?" I thought for a moment. Sometimes. But then I remember how it ended, and I know it had to happen. When she walked away, I felt a strange peace, the kind that comes only when the story truly ends. After that day, I stopped looking back completely. My focus was the future, my company, my team, and the life I was building brick by brick. I started mentoring young entrepreneurs, telling them my story. I didn't hide the pain. I told them about betrayal, loss, humiliation, because those lessons shaped me more than success ever did. People began calling me the comeback king, but I didn't see it that way. I wasn't a king. I was a survivor who turned his scars into strength. A few months later, I received an invitation, the annual National Business Awards. Ecliptic Media had been nominated for Innovative Company of the Year. I attended with my team, proud but calm. As I sat there under the golden lights hearing my name announced as the winner, I stood up, walked to the stage, and took the microphone. I looked at the crowd, CEOs, investors, journalists, and smiled. I started my journey with 2 friends and a dream, I began. We built something beautiful, until betrayal taught me the hardest lesson. Not everyone who starts with you is meant to finish with you. But instead of letting that destroy me, I used it to rebuild something stronger. The hall went silent. I continued. If you've ever been betrayed, don't let it break you. Let it sharpen you. Let it make you unstoppable. Because the people who betray you are just the architects of your awakening. The applause that followed was thunderous. But for me, the real victory wasn't the award. It was that moment, standing tall where I once fell, knowing I'd turned pain into purpose. After the ceremony, I went outside, stood by the quiet fountain near the hotel, and looked at my reflection. For the first time in years, I didn't see the man who was wronged. I saw the man who overcame. The world loves to celebrate success, but they rarely talk about the nights you cry silently, wondering if you'll ever make it out. They don't see the countless rejections, the heartbreak, the self-doubt. I'd lived through all of it, and now, standing there, I realized something. My story wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about rebirth. I realized I didn't come back just to prove them wrong. I came back to prove myself right. Months turned into years. Ecliptic Media expanded globally, New York, London, Dubai. I built a foundation to help young people start businesses. Every time I saw one succeed, it reminded me of my younger self, scared, determined, and hopeful. One day, during a conference, a young woman came up to me. "Sir," she said shyly, "I watched your story online. I was betrayed by my business partner too. I almost gave up, but your story changed my life." I smiled and told her. Then my pain had a purpose. That night, back in my hotel room, I wrote something in my journal. They broke me because they feared my potential. They betrayed me because they couldn't match my loyalty. But they forgot. Every storm runs out of rain. And I was the lightning that followed. Years later, I visited my hometown again. I walked past the cafe where we used to dream, the university where it all began, the old building where Nova Edge once stood. It was gone, replaced by a new startup. I smiled. Life had moved on. So had I. As I stood there, a group of students recognized me. One of them said, "Sir, you're the guy from Ecliptic Media, right? The one who built everything from nothing." I nodded, smiling. "Not from nothing," I said. "From betrayal." They laughed, but I meant it. Because that's what it was. My pain was the foundation of my empire. Before leaving, I looked up at the sky, the same sky I'd once stared at, wondering if I'd ever recover. And I whispered, "Thank you, God, for the betrayal. Without it, I'd never have become this version of myself. Today, when I look back, I don't feel hatred or regret. I feel gratitude. Because the people who betrayed me gave me something priceless, the fire to rise. So if you're listening and someone has broken your trust, remember this. The pain will pass, but the lesson will stay. Don't waste your energy trying to destroy them. Use it to rebuild yourself. Because one day, they'll hear your name, and it will echo louder than any apology they could ever give. And when that day comes, don't look back with anger. Look back with pride. Because you didn't just survive and you transformed. That's my story. Not of revenge, not of bitterness, but of evolution. They betrayed me, and I came back stronger than ever.